is a promise of a home, a lifestyle, and a future that Filipinos can truly call their own. Today on Beyond the Exchange, I'm joined by Ayala Land President and CEO Meean to talk about the challenges in the real estate industry and what big moves Ayala Land is doing lately. Thank you so much for joining us on Beyond the Exchange.
Thank you. It's my pleasure.
Lovely to be here.
My pleasure, Rico.
Ayala Land has been in the headlines for expanding in malls and hospitality. So how would you describe now the company's current position in the Philippine real estate sector?
Firing on all cylinders. Okay. Would that be accurate?
Yeah, that would be accurate.
I think on the leasing and the hospitality, we've been talking about what we're doing quite extensively. You know, we've been doing a big reinvention in our malls. We're expanding our hospitality. So the first thing we did maybe about 2 years ago, coming out of the pandemic, we really want to make sure we are getting the most out of these assets. But to get the most out of these assets, we also need to make sure that these assets are on the top of the game. And that's why we embarked on a big reinvention program for all our flagship malls. We started with 4 flagship malls and we'll be completing 2. So Ayala Center Cebu and Trinoma reinvention will be completed by end of this year. By middle of next year, Ayala Center Glorieta, as well as Greenbelt. So both in Ayala Center will be completed by middle of next year. We are changing the design, the layout, making public spaces really more accessible, getting in new brands. So a lot of things are happening in our mall side, starting with the reinvention of our flagship malls.
So with the malls, with hospitality, and of course your residential property, which makes up the bulk of your property portfolio, what is the current position of Ayala Land in the property market?
I think we remain one of the most invested in the country as far as property development is concerned. We're clearly in all aspects of the property business, and I think we're really maybe the full line developer, if you can call it that. No, on the property business, we're the ones that really cater to, I guess, the widest segment of the market, and in the premium segment in particular, I think we're the largest developer who has consistently been launching projects in that segment over the years.
And despite all these new developments, Meean, there are also challenges.
Yeah.
There's a lot of talk of oversupply, of inventory. How do you remain resilient amid these hurdles in the property market?
I think the position of Ayala Land in the property development sector, maybe one that differentiates us, is we're really an estate developer. So if you look at Makati, for example, our interests here are not standalone buildings or standalone malls. We really try to come in at scale, in large-scale developments, and make a difference that way. Makati is obviously our prime example. So we were able to get this obviously many decades ago. And over the years, we've continued to reinvest and work with third party or work with other lot owners to make sure that the city is always on the move. And we're doing the same thing in other estates. In New Valley, for example, which started off really like raw land when I think about this like 15 years ago. And now you see communities happening. So I think when you asked me earlier, what is our position in the property segment, I think we are really estate developers of scale.
You have been talking about Makati, which is the crown jewel of Ayala Land. So with evolving tastes of the affluent market, how do you keep your brands aspirational for people?
You're right. No? Makati is really a crown jewel, and I'll tell you later all the exciting things happening here in Makati. But maybe to answer your question on how we keep our products, I guess, continue to be relevant, particularly on the premium segment. No? When you think of our brand, like I remember my mom telling me back when I was young, if you're buying property, you only buy Ayala Land. So it really has, the brand has heritage. No? It has history. It has trust that has been built over time, many generations. But to us in Ali today, we know that all that history, heritage, that will only get you credibility. If you want to stay ahead of the market, you have to innovate, which is what we are busy doing. And what do we find? You know, the buyers are also very demanding. And what they're saying to us is, you know, effectively, they want to live in a building that almost feels like a hotel-like living. No? So how do you accomplish that? So first we worked with designers, you know, collaborated with designers from all over the world. So we worked with designers like Yabu Puschelberg for Park Villas. They did Four Seasons, the Aman Residences in Tokyo. We're working with Joyce Wang for Lorian. Joyce Wang does Mandarin Oriental. Joyce Wang, she actually does not do any residential standalone projects. But we're so happy because she's very seasoned. She's worked with different Mandarin Orientals, even the iconic one in Hyde Park in London, and some Rosewoods. I think now she has a Rosewood project in San Francisco. So we're working with we're collaborating with these kinds of designers really to make sure that our designs are at par with some of the best in the world, hospitality-wise. Amenities-wise, we also looked at our amenities. No? Lorian, for example, which is a project we're launching right now in Makati, has, I would say, the highest level of amenities that we will offer in an Ayala Land Premier project.
And what are these amenities?
So more pools, multiple pools. Now we have amenities in multiple floors. Lorian will have sky gardens, the lounges. But I think what's important in Lorian is it's almost like it's a country club. It's in-city club living. That's what we're trying to accomplish because that's what the buyers want. The other part of this is the service. As I said, they want hospitality level service. So who better to do that than Ayala Land Hospitality? So as you know, part of our business is hospitality. So now they're also doing the property management, the servicing of our very premium Ayala Land Premier projects.
It's a confluence of all the businesses put together.
And maybe the third is the construction, the execution. The
and
third
the quality.
is the construction, the quality. So we've partnered with Bouygues, which is a French construction company, actually a giant in terms of construction in the world. They did Morpheus. I went to their Morpheus project in Macau. I think they also did the Burj Khalifa. But here in the Philippines na lang, they did Tower 2. So they did Tower 2, they did One Ayala, which is one of our more complex, multi-use projects. And they're building the BPI headquarters. And Bouygues, together in partnership with MDC, will be building some of our most premium Ayala Land Premier projects. So amenities, design, service, execution, I think those are what we need to put together to come up with really an innovative product.
Not only an innovative product, but a world-class project.
Well,
I mean, just you describing it, Meean, just a country club, a hotel, it's all really just under one roof.
Yeah, well, that's what the buyers want. That's what the buyers want. And, yes, we have the brand, that's the heritage. We will pair all that with, I guess, the most prime locations in the country. I think that's the other asset that we really need to, to highlight, and to make sure we are making the most out of. We have some of the best locations here in the country. Lorian will be in De La Rosa Gardens, so it will be right in front of the BPI headquarters.
And how different is Lorian from Park Villas?
Okay, sige. Because these two are actually launched maybe just about a little over a year apart. So I always get asked this question, like, what's the difference? So very different buyer.
Okay.
Park Villa is 45 units, 1 unit per floor. Each unit is 650 square meters.
650.
Yes. So
It's
the
like
units.
it's a house. It's a house.
Yes.
Oh,
And
house and lot.
Yeah. Yes. Because the customer here, the peg The peg for us, okay, how did we get this idea? So we looked at the subdivisions around Makati. The Forbes, the Dasmas, the Ordenetas. What did we see? There's very high demand for properties in these subdivisions, but there's also an intergenerational transfer. So new families are using the lots. It's the children of the old homeowners, or they sold it to a younger family, which tells us there are people who are moving out, but they may not necessarily want a smaller space. They may not necessarily want to downsize their lifestyle. So what we're trying to provide them is the same lifestyle, it's the same exclusivity, maybe even more amenities, but without the headache of maintaining a pool or a house or a garden. So at 650 square meters, Park Villa is really a house in the sky. Okay, Lorian is a different animal.
Right.
Lorian has a more varied unit size. No? So this one is for an individual or a couple who wants to be right in the middle of the city. You want to be in the hustle and bustle. Maybe you work here, you want access to the restaurants, etc. But when you go home, you want access to all the amenities of a private club. So this is almost like an urban oasis concept for us. So very different in terms of target market. I think same attention to detail in terms of generosity in terms of the amenities, the design, the service. But I think we're really trying to target a very different class of, a segment of the market.
Time now for a quick break, and when we come back on Beyond the Exchange, learn more of how Ayala Land is redefining premium living in the Philippines. Welcome back to Beyond the Exchange. Let's continue our conversation with Ayala Land's President and CEO, Meean. Apart from Lorian, Park Villa, and of course the malls and hospitality, what else can we expect in terms of more developments from Ayala Land in Makati?
Well, in Makati, so many things are happening in Makati. I mean, if you walk around in Makati, and I encourage you to, because we're really trying to make Makati as walkable as possible, beside Tower 2, you'll see Mandarin, Mandarin Oriental. From the outside, it looks like nothing is happening. But believe you me, there's a lot of things happening inside. We're quickly finishing this, and it will be open by middle of next year. We're really doing a big reinvention in Ayala Center, from Glorieta all the way to Greenbelt, and all the way to really a rebirth of Greenbelt 1, if I can call it that. And actually, just as important as this, or maybe in my mind, even more important than this, are the things that other people are doing, not just Ayala Land. BPI, BDO, Metrobank, they are all putting up their headquarters here in Makati. And if you see the designs of all these buildings, they're all iconic. They're all iconic. And I think that will add so much to the city that the three biggest banks of the Philippines are putting up their headquarters here in such an iconic way. If you go further down Ayala Avenue, keep going straight Ayala Avenue, you'll end up in Circuit. Circuit is our art and culture district in Makati. So we already have the Samsung Performing Arts Theater there. So that theater is truly world class, and we're making it a home for Filipino artists, because a Filipino artist is so world class. So we're doing more shows there that really center on Filipino talent. We have so many things going on there, including the latest one is the Contemporary Art Museum. This must be interesting to you because I understand you are an art collector. Maybe the last one I'll mention would be the changes in the design guidelines of MASEA. MASEA is the Makati Central Estate Association. They're basically changing some of the rules for lot owners to build, with the hope and the intention that lot owners will be encouraged to redevelop and to do more mixed use. So now we're making all lots essentially mixed use, and giving extra leeway to develop if you're putting in sustainability elements or contributing to the pedestrianization and walkability of the city. So many things are going on.
What about the middle market?
I think the middle market, this is where we've had a little bit of stress, of difficulties during the pandemic. So there were really a few years where the middle market was, I guess, being stressed by macroeconomic environment. The POGOs left, so certain markets also experienced vacancies. So admittedly, we saw this quite early on in the game, and we played. The way we played it is we were very aggressive in terms of managing our middle market inventory. But we've been at it for maybe more than 2 years now. Really very disciplined with moving our middle market inventory, making sure we are, very strict with our launches. And we feel that right now we have some breathing room. And we are actually going to start launching again new projects in our Avida brand. So our launches in the past have been sequels. So Tower 2, Tower 3 of projects that we've already started before the pandemic. I think we're at the point where we're ready to start new projects in new places. And we're very excited to do our project in Katipunan. It will be our first project in Katipunan for Avida, which is close to my heart because, as I mentioned to you, I am an Atenean. Yes.
What about other estates? What is the progress, for example, in Arca South?
Yeah. No, yes, we have about 50 estates, actually. I'm glad you asked that because Makati is our crown jewel, but there are others that we are nurturing and we're really activating. Arca South is a prime example. What's going on in Arca South? We are building what we call the TCITX, the intermodal transport terminal. It will connect the roads through the skyway. It will connect the subway. It will connect the rail. So we thought that what we're doing here in one Ayala terminal is already something to be proud of. Once we're done with the TCITX in Arca South, that will probably be 3 to 4 times the size. So we're doing that. We are also working with the government and with San Miguel in the ramp that connects the Skyway and C5. We are completing our mall. The first phase of our mall in Arca South will open this year. We're
in time for the holidays.
In time for the holidays, of course, because no Filipino community is complete without a mall. So the first phase of the mall is going to be complete by this year and progressively, next phase next year, and so on and so forth.
Are you looking at other areas across nationwide where you can build more estates for Ayala land?
I think we're always looking, but in the past, I would say 15 years, we've really grown these estates, I think maybe, to this 50 number. Our focus in the next 5 years, yes, we will continue to launch new estates, but our focus would be to make sure we are activating and building up the estates that we currently have.
Let's talk about sustainability.
Okay.
How is Ayala land building sustainably?
To us, sustainability cannot be an add-on. If it's an add-on, that's the first to go when times get tough. So for us, the challenge is how do you embed sustainability in our business model? And it's very simple. Sustainability should make our products better so that we will naturally do it. So with this in mind, we were thinking, what are the aspects of sustainability that are natural to us, that are things that really add value to our buyers? And we identified 4 focused areas. So first, site resiliency. So that's why we're very strict with our planning guidelines. Why? Because we know the effects of climate change.
Yes.
Right? So we want to make sure our residents, our locators are safe. Second, pedestrian mobility and walkability. So what does that mean? It means making sure that our estates are accessible by public transit. And when you get there, you can walk around. You don't need to bring your car to walk around. That's how we try. I know there are challenges and we don't always get it 100%, but we always try to make it as walkable as possible. Now, here in Makati, we put up the One Ayala terminal because we really wanted it to showcase how important it is for us that the commuter the commuter is comfortable. The third, resource efficiency. Water, power, waste disposal. How do we do this as efficiently as possible? Now, that's good for the environment. But you know what? If you do it right, it's also good for the locator, because your operating expenses go down. So that's an area that we focus on and we feel is beneficial for our user. And then lastly is local economic development. We go into places sometimes where we're the first, we're the pioneer. We want to make sure that whatever progress we create is enjoyed by the communities around us. So we try to endeavor to employ at least 25% of our workforce. The construction and service workforce comes from the local economic, the local communities. So that's how we try to develop sustainability. I think we have a very practical approach that makes it embedded in our business model and in our products.
This really keeps you so busy, 24/7, Meean.
Well, we have a good team. So it's not all me. They do all the work. But I just do the interview with you.
But as the leader of a major property developer in the Philippines, how do you view your role in inspiring the next generation of leaders?
I think the way to inspire is to give purpose. And I always share my purpose. I always try to share what it is that inspires me to do what I do. Because as you know, I've been in Ayala land for X number of years. But
Let's not mention
a long time. And why is it I've stayed on? And it's really this, when we travel, we see how people live in more developed countries, their homes, how they commute, the public spaces, their parks, the way they walk around their cities, interact with each other, outside their buildings, and you see how all of this happens. And as a developer, I always feel like, I hope I can do something like that in the Philippines, in our developments, because I want the Filipino to experience that, because the Filipino deserves it.
Absolutely.
Right? And so in this job, we have opportunities to do that. It's not always easy, and we don't always get to do it 100%, because there are limitations even for us, but we always try. And when we get to do it right, like I mentioned the One Ayala terminal, where I think the experience of the commuter really just elevated after that was provided. When you get to do something like that, the satisfaction is just so tremendous. It makes all the hard work worthwhile. And that's how I want to inspire the next generation of leaders. Have a purpose, have a goal, and if you achieve that, make an impact on the Filipino and on the country.
What kind of legacy would you like to leave behind?
Well, I think as a CEO, you always just want to leave the company better than when you entered, right? I mean, that's really your ultimate goal as a CEO. And for me, I really want to work on making sure that we continue to uplift the quality of the product that we deliver in all aspects of the business. That the malls, that's why we're going through this reinvention. And the new malls that we deliver should be in a different level already. That it should be, the design is better, the brands that we bring in are first in the country, that the team running it is also, I guess, more aware of what's going on in the world and able to, implement best practices immediately. So legacy, I think maybe a quality and a team that can innovate. That's really what I would like to leave to Ali when that time comes.
If there's one bold bet that you're going to make on the future of the Philippine real estate industry, what would that be?
Wow, one bold bet. I think for us, I think it's not one single bet, but it's everything that we are doing in all the aspects of the business all together. All the investments and the bets that we're making in the mall, in the hotels, even our offices and our residential. I think we're not pulling back in any of these businesses. And so the boldness comes in the fact that we're doing all of it all at the same time in all the business lines.
On that positive note, Meean, President and CEO of Ayala Land Incorporated, thank you so much.
Thank you, Rico.
For joining
Thank
us
you. It was my
on Beyond
pleasure.
the
My
Exchange.
pleasure. Thank you.
Building isn't just about properties. It's about creating communities that last. From staying competitive to going green, Ayala Land is definitely aiming high for the future. I'm Rico Hizon. Join us again next time on Beyond the Exchange, where we uncover insights that matter. See you again soon.